All right, here for another week of live coding on the GDAX trading project. And so, first things first, just want to welcome everybody to the stream. And we're going to go over quickly what this project is all about and what the goal we're trying to accomplish is. And also, if I'm too quiet or you can't see anything, just let me know, and I will do my best to adjust everything. Also, I'm on like a 30-second delay or so if you say something and I don't get back to you right away, it's just because it takes a little bit to get to me. All right. If anybody's curious, that song was Readers Do You Read by Chris Zabriskie. All right, so just to acknowledge a little difference from the other ones, I am now on my laptop. So we are using Mac instead of Linux now, and what that means, first of all, is that I don't have the project, so I'm going to have to pull the project in. But first, let's look at what the project is doing. This is the trading page where people can trade dollars for Ethereum tokens. It runs all the time, 7 days a week, 24/7, letting people trade at whatever rates are over here. So these red numbers up here, this is somebody who wants to sell, say, 20 Ethereum at a price of $307 and some dollars. And then these green ones are people who want to buy. Then over on the right, we have the trade history section, which shows every successful match between a buyer and a seller. And there's a graph in the middle that shows us where the price has been, as well as the depth chart. And the depth chart just shows us, so see all these numbers here, so there's this 150 or 200 right there, those are right here on the depth chart. So this is just a graphical representation of this same data over here on the left side. Okay, so here's the project. It's on GitHub. I hope I pushed up the last thing. Let's see. Yeah, good. That should say 7 days ago, because I did update it last week. All right, so grab this link, pull it into Android Studio, and I'm using the Canary version, so it might look a little different than what you're running. So I don't usually run the Canary version, but I was recording something, and since the Canary version will be what's going to be commonly used coming up, I got to record on that. So if it looks different, that's why. So BCS, checkout from GitHub. Yep. It's auth code. So everybody can sign into my GitHub. We had to be really quick. I guess you would have to be quick. You can't go back. Those change every minute. Okay, so that's not the repository. We want that repository. I'm going to call it GDAX. Plug it in. Yep. This window, so we're going to get rid of that other window. To be honest, I'm not sure why these errors happen, but you can just usually figure out what's going on. Okay. No, so did we pull update? Okay. This is turning out to be more exciting than I thought it would, which is good, because this is a part of gameplay that I don't think is shown much, is just the struggles of making things work. So, re-download and sync. So the big issues we're going to have here is this computer, my work MacBook, has a different version of a lot of the libraries as my computer at home. And that is going to cause issues when trying to build the project. And if this doesn't work easily, I might just switch over to opening a zip file. Okay, so the whole project is here. And I'd like to not just create a new project and then copy over all the code. I usually end up doing that, but I feel like that is not the best way to do this. But sometimes you just do have to push through and keep going, because we're here to work, not to fidget with this stuff. So let's just close it and reopen it, because that's usually the best piece of advice. It's weird that we would have that and not a button to update the Kotlin runtime. Okay, so we're just going to take the easy way, and well, I guess we'll hit that first. Okay, that restarted, I guess. Maybe that's whatever that was, maybe that was the key. And do we have any projects here? Which is weird, because I told it to keep the project. Specifically told it to keep the project. So let's make an Android app project. Give it the app module, default activity. Use the emulator. Fine, we will pick the emulator as we go. Okay. All right, this is a mess. File, new project, GDAX, and this one's going into downloads, so that's fine that it's called GDAX. Will not be an issue. Empty activity. And when you're copying a project like this, it is called main activity, right? Okay. So the code is really easy to copy through, but what you want to usually do first is the build file. So let's grab this guy. And paste it over here. And we'll see what kind of issues this gives us. This is where we should get any install issues. So right now, since it doesn't have these libraries, a lot of them, my computer just doesn't have them, it's going to download them all and then build the project again. And it finished building. So in here, this is a Kotlin project. We should be able to use Anko already, and specifically like ListView. Yep, there it is. So let's come over here then, and I'm going to take, in the project pane, I'm just going to take the whole package and copy that, and I think that'll work. In here, Java, then we want to paste it over that, maybe? Let's just hit OK and see what happens. Okay, so that gave us a real interesting folder structure there. Is there okay, so there's another main activity. Okay, so we're just going to open this in Finder. And where's the up button? Fine, we'll open this one in Finder. Okay, Java, com, Treehouse, GDAX. How is that Android test? That doesn't make any sense. Reveal in Finder on this one, then we can go to app, source, main, Java, com, Treehouse, GDAX, and then let's come into this GDAX, copy these guys. So I guess I'll just cut them with X, which it's not letting me do. There's copy. Okay, copy. Come out here, then delete this main activity, move to trash, then paste these guys in, then delete this GDAX, come back into here. Project is reloaded, and we can run it. I hope. Yeah, and to be real clear, I'm sure there's a better way to do this. I just don't know what it is, and this seems to be the way that I usually end up doing it. All right, there's the emulator. So it's telling us R doesn't exist, which to me means that yeah, we open it. An abort signal. So sig abort. That is the first time I've ever seen this. And that's like a deep issue with the emulator. Let's try closing some of this other stuff here. All right. Now for this R issue, let's go ahead and invalidate caches and restart. Just to kind of clean up that project. So we created a new project, but then we kind of pasted the guts of another project inside of it. So it, it might just be a little confused. I can see some references getting messed up there. Okay, so this is that first project, which should not have, which was giving us the strange error where we kept clicking fix and it would not do anything. So yes, if we edit these configurations, which it won't even let me do, so that doesn't make sense. So let's file, open, recent, that'll be the faster way to get to it, or not. Or did it open both projects, maybe? One behind the other. No, that would be too fortunate. Cancel that. Open from GDAX. Then downloads. That's where it is. And it was GDAX. There we go. Open that project. Opening this window. We shouldn't. If we still needed that window, we'll find out. But the build and all the code, and actually perhaps the manifest. I think we might need the manifest too. Okay. And so see, now that we've, oh no, R's gone again. It just hadn't loaded yet. Why are you so, R? Oh, right. There's one, because that's the view holder. So come on down to the other project. So back into open. This should be able to find it with open recent. Yep. New window, because we need both. And I forgot that we did actually one layout. So that's going to be important to have. So when using Anko, you don't need a layout. So see, there's no activity main over here because Anko, you can just create the layout on the fly, and it's really awesome. But for being able to actually see your layouts as you design them, there's really nothing better than the UI editor. Okay, here, main activity looks good, right? Why does it say the package is weird? That looks like it matches. Directory doesn't match file location. You're not in the data directory. You're in com.o team treehouse. I see. Well, we can fix that, but as it turns out, these don't really matter as long as they all match, so we can just leave that as is. And what do you want? Do not concatenate text displayed with set text. So because we're in Kotlin, this is technically the set text method. We're just setting it as a property instead. Philip asks, are you building an app in Kotlin from scratch? Yes. Yes, this is completely from scratch. And we are following the guide of just trying to build this. And they have a really nice API and basically tell you how to do it, which is what makes it such an easy and definable project. But also it's complicated and there's lots of moving pieces. So it's not always easy, which is pretty typical for Android. Okay, so we've got the adapter. It's got its views, right? Okay, good. Now you will be a good app and run. Although we did see that SIG abort thing with the emulator. That was really weird. Never had the emulator just crash like that. Okay, what is that? Cannot find merged manifest. That sounds like I forgot to copy over the manifest, which I know I did forget to copy over the manifest. So this is that. Does this not have a manifest? Is that the problem? It didn't pull in the manifest? What? So, there's the manifest. Okay, it is there, but is it over here? I don't know that would have gotten copied over. Let's find out. So we went to the project view, then drilled into the project, going app, source, main, then there's the manifest, and it gives us this file, which again was showed in the previous screen, but earlier. So, right, let's open this, and I don't think it should be that different, right? It's just got the internet permission, but that wouldn't have made it barf like it did for us the other way. All right, copy this over. Oh, that's it. I see you there. That's right, the package name is set in the manifest, so we do need to be using the right package. Okay, there we go. Oh, man. Yes. Oh, is that because I hit... So earlier in the stream, I hit Alt-Tab or Alt-Enter to try and import the R class to see what that would do, and it added an import here, which once we fixed it, was not an issue. But schema export directory is now provided to the annotation processor, so we cannot export the schema. You can either provide schema permission, cannot find main merged manifest. All right, let's Google that one. Cannot find main merged manifest. Looks like a bunch of people have had that. We not cleaned the project. Nope, that was rebuild. We want clean. All right, that built. I'll copy that. Oh, that's a lot to copy. So, all right, this ran, and here's the project. So now what I'm thinking is, oh, and so actually let's just finish the setup here. So we've got the trade history page and the trade history side. We'll get them both to show up at the same time, please. All right, we'll have to bring the emulator on top. All right, let's see how well these match up. All right, so there we go. We've got trade history on the left and trade history on the right. Perfect. Now, looking at the clock, it took me about 20 minutes to get this project set up, which seems like a long time. So, in the essence of, or in the service of trying to figure out a better way that I could have done that, I'm going to spend at least 5 minutes Googling this message. So this is the initial message we got when we pulled the project down from GitHub, which I would have thought would just work. So let's go over here, and that message is super, super long. So if I paste it in here, it's going to take me a while to trim it to something more usable. So I don't feel like it's a good idea to Google the whole thing. All right, so we've got that, and oh my goodness, really? Let's find out. So is this an error where it just, if I would have found a way to Google that, that's fine. That's going to be very frustrating for me and probably lots of other people. So let's see. Build.Gradle, change Kotlin version number. That'd be very frustrating if this is just a change Kotlin version thing when the error sounds nothing like that. Okay, so build.Gradle. I don't even know how we got a debug there. Version 1.1. Let's see what version of Kotlin I'm on. Configure tools, Kotlin. Configure Kotlin in project. Okay, they're configured, I guess. Well, let's just try let's just go with 1.1.2-4. Back to project, 1.2-4. Sync this. Really? And then, well, we still don't have project here, but at least now I can edit my configuration maybe. All right, it's building. That's a good sign. running, it's installing. Did it work? It shouldn't be this long, I don't think. Let's back this out. Run this again. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. All right, so that's really awesome. I'm going to make a note of that before I forget. That seems like a good idea to, actually, I'll just leave this tab up here on the left where I'll remember it. But I'll want to take this tab in some fashion and put this into the README here so that anybody else pulling down the project won't have to figure out what's going on there. All right, but on the plus side, we now have the project. So just a quick recap of what happened there. I pulled down the project, got this weird error. It was this that didn't mean anything. So rather than try and figure it out, I aborted that and just started a new project, pulled over all the resources, built the project up again, and after 20 minutes that worked. And that was great. But then I got curious what this even meant, because 20 minutes is a long time to get something up and running. And come to find out that I just needed to change the Kotlin version number. So we'll update that in the page here so nobody else has to deal with that. And we're going to move on to the UI. All right, so here we've got trade history page and what we are looking to add. And we can get rid of this one in the downloads. We don't need that. Keep this. This is our good project. Wow, I'm glad I pulled that over. That would be really annoying to have to figure out for somebody just trying to get up to speed. Okay, so back into main activity. Let's look at the project. And these can be minimized. They're unimportant. Just little logging statements in their own threads to tell us what is inside the database. This one clears, just deletes everything in the database. This one logs. All right. So last week, I spent some time trying to get a drawer layout set up so that we'd have something that can pull in from the left here and that would give us some options, and we could have a bar up top telling us the name of the app and that sort of stuff. So I made some progress on that, and then it didn't go so well. So let's uncomment these guys and see what we've got. All right, it says Hello World in black, which is the toolbar. Then the app bar layout, which wraps the toolbar, which is then the drawer layout. And let's look at the drawer layout docs real quick here. Drawer layout. And this is not what we're looking for. We want the training one. So the difference being this is the reference, so it tells you just what it is kind of as an object. And this actually tells us something. So we've got the list view, layout gravity there. Okay. This is a recycle view, it's right there. So after the recycle view, let's try putting a ListView. Or really just a view. Let's see, how do we get it hooked up? For open and closing ones. Listen for a drawer. Call set drawer listener on your drawer layout and pass it an implementation of drawer listener. Okay. Okay, well, I'm not looking to look at those. Aha, here we go. we're looking just to open and close the drawer, which for now, let's just add a drawer. Let's see, we've got after the recycle view down here at the bottom. So this recycle view is the trade history section, so we'll just minimize that. Then we've got drawer layout, app bar layout, and then let's just do a view with a background color of color.blue. No, let's go with cyan. And then .l params to set the layout params on that view, and we'll give it a width of, I think, 300, DIP 300. So again, DIP here is a function in the Anchor class that lets us set DP coordinates, or rather units, without having to do any math. And we'll also give it a height of match parent. All right. So then we've got this view, and how does it start out of the way? I don't remember that. Let's see. Drawer layout object as the root view of the layout. Then we give the main content, which we've got as a recycle view, and another view that contains the contents of the navigation drawer, which we've got as a cyan colored view right now. Okay, let's see in this example, you don't have anything keeping it. Wait, do we have the gravity? Yeah, let's add layout gravity back in. And that's going to be in here. Gravity equals start. Or rather, gravity dot start. Oh. There we go, gravity dot start. Okay, run. I'm just going to hit run here. It takes a second to run. And set the match height. Yep, that's correct. The main content view must be the first child in the drawer layout. Oh, I'm not doing that. I don't think. Right? Because this app bar layout would be first. Okay, so let's get rid of that. I don't think we need that. And also, we should have a running app to look at. And got nothing. Can't drag a drawer in from the left, so it's not working. Run this again. All right, there we've got trades and a blue, or rather a cyan section. So that's 300 might be a little big. I might change that to 250. Let's do that. 250. And let's see how we make it. All right, so the main content should be set to match parent for width and height. So then, oh no, it would be relative. Oops. Our view does not need to be inside the relative layout. It needs to be inside a comment here. We'll call this a drawer. And okay, so then the relative layout is the one that needs to be match parent, match parent. So let's see what that looks like. So that's following the instructions from right here. And yep. Okay, so do that. Hey, look at that. So, did it work? I think so. Ah, cool. That was a really, really wide drawer. Wow, yes it is. 3250. That's super wide. Let's say no to that. Nuh-uh. All right. there's that. We can pull over the drawer, and it stops right there. Sweet. So we've got a drawer. All right, that's exciting. So what would be, what I think I'd like to do is pull that drawer out into its own class. So this is kind of something I like to do with Kotlin. And so let's do this, and we will yes. I think that updated all of our package names. That's the hope. Oh, hey, we are programming this project right here, trying to make this show up on the app. And right now we've got the trade history section up, and we are making some progress onto the drawer layout over here. So here's the drawer. Boop. And we're going to see how much progress we can make on getting the drawer done. All right, back to the code. We just hit a button. Not really sure how it triggered that, but it did let us update all of our package names, which is really cool. And I do actually prefer 2 spaces instead of 4, so that's fine. All right, so I'm going to make a new class. Why is that gray? That's green. Yeah, I'm just going to hit run again to make sure that that button click didn't mess anything up, but we'll see. All right, looks to be fine. So I'm going to make a new class, and this is going to be, just call it my drawer for now, or NavDoor. I think NavDoor is fine. This is a class, and yeah, add it to Git. Then it's looking good over there. We are going to make this, for now, let's say it extends relative layout. So relative layout, and relative layout requires a context. So let's pass in a context. Which we're going to have to pass in here. So we'll call it context, which is the name we gave it over there, and context for the type. Cool. So now this is a relative layout. All right. How long do I think it's going to take to complete this? That's a good question. I've not really thought about it. It'll take quite a while to get completely finished. So just to show an example of some things that take a lot longer than you'd think they were, getting these little bars over here in the view to show up took a little bit longer, and especially getting the time to just be the right time. So this time doesn't come in as my local time here, it comes in as GMT time. So, finding the libraries and getting all that time set up to make it match over here takes a bunch of work. Then, oh, actually, it looks like we could bold these guys and add an arrow too if we really wanted to match this. But getting the decimals to line up, so it's a lot of work. It'll probably be, a few more weeks or a month if I'm, even go for trying to complete this whole page behind me, which would be really cool. But yeah, right now we're just taking it one step at a time, seeing where we end up. And hopefully by the end of today, we'll have a drawer layout over here that we can pull in. And then once we've got the drawer, we'll be able to add another page, like maybe a chart or something. And I'm not even convinced that drawer is necessarily the right way to go, but it's, it's the common way to go, so we'll start with that. Because I didn't spend any time really thinking about like tab layouts or something. Like if we want to do like chart, trade history, and make orders or something. But all right, and shabam, it got started in video 1. So this video isn't part of the playlist yet, but as I finish the videos, I've been adding all of these to a playlist. So it would be the first part of the playlist would be the ones where it got started. And you can watch me struggle and build the whole thing. I'm not leaving out any steps at all, which might take 20 minutes to get this project started today, coming from Linux to Mac. But all right, back to, here we go, we're in a NavDoor. Let's just get this set up. And then here, let's say we're going to set the background color to, so this is inside our relative layout. So our NavDoor is a relative layout, and I'm just setting that to be to cyan again. So we're just refactoring to cyan. And then instead of using our view here, we're going to use our NavDoor. But what we need to call is Anko view. I believe to add it. Right? Yeah. So let me quickly look up how to set this up. Actually, I think let's just try it this way. We will grab a new view. So bow NavDoor equals NavDoor. As in context, this at main activity. Then this at, oh, we want this to be, oh no, that's fine. This dot add view NavDoor. We do it, and then can we add layout parameters like this? This way. That's what we need to know. So let's do copy this and paste it right there. Oops. Copy it again instead of pasting it. So params, got that. Okay. And we'll see if that pulls it away. And what coding language is this? This is Kotlin. So this was at Google I/O. Android team announced that Kotlin is an officially supported language. So in addition to Java, we now have Kotlin. And I like Kotlin a lot. It's just shorter to write than Java, so you spend less time typing. And one of the biggest things you'll notice is there's no semicolons here. Kotlin knows where the ends of lines are, which is really nice. Though you can still use semicolons. Okay, so check it out. We've got our NavDoor. We created it over here, and it's just a relative layout. And inside the init function, which is, basically the code that gets called in the constructor, we have set the background color to cyan. And over here in main activity, we are grabbing a new instance of our NavDoor, setting its layout parameters, which, remember, layout parameters are separate from the object itself. So the NavDoor has an inherent property of being cyan, but the layout parameters aren't part of that object. They just decide where it goes. So it's, like the X and the Y and the how wide it is, so it can be stretched to fit into wherever it's going, and then gravity, so which side it's going to. And so a good way to explain that is, let's see, I think it's margin, right? Yeah, so margin we can set inside the layout parameters section. But if we try to set padding, this padding here will be setting the padding for the drawer layout, which is really confusing. So that's one of the biggest traps of just Android in general. Is, padding is something inherent to the view, margin is something outside the view. And if you set this padding here, you're going to be setting it on the drawer layout accidentally. Okay, so we've got our NavDoor there. Now we can update our NavDoor in here. And instead of doing that, we can, I believe, start typing in Anko, right? Let's see, let's do a text view. Yes, perfect. Text view, and we'll say hello world, and give it, actually, we'll just leave that as that, and then we'll add another text view that says goodbye. And then differently on this one, we will set layout params and align it to the bottom. So text view dot. Oh, and see, we don't have L params here. So back over here, notice that we have L params options. We can do this. And we can't do it in here, which is frustrating. And the reason you can't do it is because this is a relative layout and not an underscore relative layout, which is a helpful class that, or not Kotlin, that Anko makes for all the layouts here. And so by using the underscore version of the layout, you get access to helpful things like being able to set layout parameters very, very easily. All right, so we've got the layout parameters for this text view. And what was I going to set it to? Right, we're going to align this one on the bottom. So this, in the relative layout, everything gets aligned to the top left unless you say otherwise. So we're going to align this to the bottom. So align to parent bottom. And then let's run this, and we should now in our navigation drawer have, let's see. All right, there we go. Hello world in the top left, goodbye in the bottom left. So next, what we need to do is make this nav drawer not awful. So first things first, let's look at our example. So what we're trying to copy over here and get a feel for what colors we should use. So it looks like we should use this lighter color here as opposed to this darker version right here. So I don't know that I have that color. Let's go to the app, go to, did I actually set those as colors? Let's find out. Values, colors. Did we do it? Yep, it looks like we did. Though it also, I think I've just set those to set them, I think, right? It's the background color. Yeah, I set the background explicitly there. That's not ideal. Let's change that. Color. Get color. R.color. And that is color primary. And then we'll see if that gives us the same background color. Yeah, we are building this, which is where this is a trading platform where people can trade dollars for a cryptocurrency called Ethereum. And it is always running, which makes it a really good use for this app. So we can always have something to look at. There's always data flowing through this. And the app we're making is we're just going to try to turn this into an app because they have a really good API. So and WebSockets, and they've got good documentation. So it's an easy thing where I don't have to spend too much time worrying about what the scope of the project is. I'm just kind of trying to do this. What's going on behind the screen? So far we've got this right section completed, and that's what we've got here. And now we're adding some more sections over here that we'll be able to flip to. So once we've got, sort of a menu and options over here, then we'll come in and we'll start doing some more screens, like maybe the chart or the order book. And we could also do it so that people could buy and sell through actually using the app. But that brings with it, the ability that you could screw something up as a developer and people could lose money. So that's scary and not something that I necessarily want to do. So I don't know that we'll get to that step. All right. So pillar primary, that totally worked. And then what we want to have is that when we pull this out, it should be a lighter color, I think. It should be a lighter version of that, I think would look good. Or it should, let's just go with dark. Let's go with, so let's grab this bit color thing. NavDoor, set the background color to color primary dark. We need to import get color from support library. Or the other one. Whichever one takes in an int. Okay, it took in, we were fine with this earlier. What import was that? Let's see. And subam, which week did this get started? Week 0? I guess it's the one that doesn't have a week after it. So I only started adding week to the end at week 2. So, and the first one, I think there was actually an issue in the middle, so it's technically 2 videos. But if you go to the playlist that this is in, I think it's called GDAX project, then you can find all the videos, except for this one, because I can't add it to the playlist until after it's done. Okay, so what get color is this? This is get color from get color. If I delete you, what import do I need? Is that from? Is that an Anko thing? Let's see. So if that's an Anko thing, you'd be able to do context.getColor. Aha. Is that what it was? Get color does not get color. That is weird. So this says this requires an API of 15 or of 23, but we're only using 15, and weirdly, I'm not getting that error over here. So what are this get color is from the context class. Okay. And this one is also from the context class. These are the same get color methods. Why are they being different? Subam asks, in the future, will Java be replaced by Kotlin? Maybe. So Kotlin was recently announced as supported, and lots of people like Kotlin and are switching to use Kotlin. But for the time being, most existing projects are written in Java still. So to use, if you want to go work on those projects, you're going to need to know Java. So you can't, and those projects might be switching to Kotlin, but they're still written in Java, so you're going to need to have the Java understanding to be able to work on them. Though there aren't a lot of places that are doing Kotlin-only projects now, so you could get by without knowing Java, which is cool. And I do think in the future, we will see a lot more Kotlin instead of Java, which is nice, because Kotlin's just better. It's just an easier language to use. All right, so getting a little tired of this color nonsense. Do we have an app? Let's go with, yeah, there we go. Let's do this some more. So we'll get our, these will just be set for fun. So we've got control tab. So grab this, put it in there, and this will be primary color. And then primary color. Perfect. Even easier than typing that. We just define it as just an available variable here, and we're done. And then let's just look at this. Yeah, we'll just look at it with primary color as the background. And then also, we're going to want probably a view at the top. Okay, let's pull this out. Yeah, that looks okay, I think. I mean, you might want it to be a little lighter, like they've got it here, so this color instead. Let me see if I can get this. Let's see, is there a push? Did I get it? Yeah, that button. So let's cut that. I don't remember where that goes to, but jump here. Nope. It'd be too easy, wouldn't it? See, I think it goes to the clipboard. Yeah, whatever. Let's instead just take our color that we've got. So activity, nope, it is in here, this guy. Let's take this and just lighten it a little bit. We don't have to get exactly that color. Lighten color. And then our color is this guy. And let's lighten it. And I think this is the one. Does that copy to the clipboard? Oh, nope, it does put it right there. And then gives us a green color. That's weird. All right, so back in the code, let's grab this, Control D, paste in the new color, and call this primary color light, and then use that for our NavDoor. Is that the color we want for this? Let's see. Then let's pull it in. How close is that actually to the color? I'm getting the emulator. It's a little light. We could go with something a little less. Let's turn on that. Come back in here. Ooh, close a few of these, give us some space. Nice. Get this color again. Oops, copied it twice, that's no good. All right, paste it in, lighten it. Let's actually go for this create guy instead. And you know, I think we might actually be able to make this UI quicker. And okay, so let's put that out. Run this, see if that looks any better. I think we might be in a good place to use not anchor through the UI. I'm liking the tools a little better recently. Have I tried Google Code Jam? I have once. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Those are fun. It's tough though. It takes like all day, especially in like, I don't know, the first or second round. I remember thinking like, wow, this is taking a lot of time. Are hackathons helpful? Sure. I mean, it's totally different programming than, you know, programming at a company. So hackathons, you're kind of just racing to get something done as fast as you can. And I guess that can be the case in a lot of like startup culture or something. But, you know, usually you want to take your time and really plan things and test. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely helpful, but it's different still. It's not the same. for example, if I was doing a hackathon, trying to get this project done in a hackathon, this screen would look not half as good as it does, because you just wouldn't have the time to do all the little extra touches to get it looking just right. You'd have to hit most of the big features and leave the little things off, like maybe you'd leave off this bar on the left, or getting the local time, just displaying it in the GMT time, or maybe you just leave off the time column entirely. Say, nope, we're not dealing with that. Yeah, so that's different. And all right, so we've got our color. We've seen, let's see what it looks like here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so this, and let's grab this, and I want to put it in our colors file too. So kind of color dark and light, also one of them. And then I want to try doing this as another layout file. Let's do NavDoor. And we'll start with this relative layout, and we're just going to try to do exactly what we've been doing. Yeah, let's add that for now, that's fine. How did I prepare for the Google Code Jam? I didn't, I just did it, it was just for fun. It's kind of like doing a Sudoku or something. I mean, except for the I forget what, like the 16 or however many people get to go to Google and do whatever it is that you do for winning the Code Jam. But mostly I just look at it as something that's kind of fun, like doing a Sudoku, but harder. All right, so let's come in here, relative layout, and let's set the width. We had it at 250. Switch me back to that quick view. There we go. Width 250 dp. Layout gravity. So here's the way you can tell. So anything that would go in the L params and Anko would be starting with layout. So that's your key. They don't separate them as directly in the attribute section here, but the layout things are things that are exterior to your view, and everything else is sort of interior. So we're looking for layout gravity to say how it'll float in the world outside of itself. So regular gravity would just be how views float inside of this relative layout. So layout gravity, and start. Boom. Okay. And then background color is primary color light, color primary light. Cool, great. So that's there, and if we drag out a text view, or not, we drag out a text view. I hate the little orange box does not match up with where my cursor is, very frustrating. There you go, now we're up there, and that didn't add any weird properties, right? No, of course it added weird properties. We're in the design view. How could we not add weird properties? No, don't do any of that. Just set it. So that's why sometimes I go back and forth a lot between using Anko and using the layout editor, because I just want the layout editor to work, but sometimes it's just, you know, and sometimes it works, but it gives me just messy XML code. Like I remember I was using coordinator layout, not coordinator, constraint layout a while ago, and it was just putting in all these different tools parameters. So I could put like a tools.x to be like where it shows up in the preview here, but it wouldn't actually show up there on the screen. It's really annoying. All right. So we've got this relative layout, it exists. And here's what's cool is we've got our NavDoor there. Then do include. This is a relative layout. And r.id. Layout. Dot NavDoor. And then we'll take our L params I think those are still good. Still good L params, even though we kind of already set the ones. But that's fine. Okay, so let's see. And so now this, the difference will be that we only have one text view instead of two. Right? So this one says goodbye at the bottom. And this now just says text view. Okay, so there, now we've seen this is, we made a NavDoor in text, and we made one in XML, and we attached them both. And I think this one, let's go with this one. I think we're getting to the point where I can use the tools, and they will work, hopefully. Colors, NavDoor. Okay, so we want, and we probably want an image view at the top here. So image view. Oh, I get to pick an image right away. I can't leave it off. At least it's got a bunch of good options for me. Well, I'd like to star icon big, but yeah, okay. Let's go with that guy. Nice. So let's do just too much gone. I can't see. All right, let's pull this guy. Where have you gone, my friend? What? Don't do that. What? Where did you just, where did everything go? Did I somehow select the relative layout? What just happened? How does that make the, oh, just, wait a minute. How did I drag something around in the design view and it ended up setting parameters on itself? That's, you obviously can't do that. And I didn't do it, you know, I just dragged the thing around. That's something else. Wow, okay. So I guess let's do, we need this to be, and it's frustrating that it's showing us a toolbar up here because I don't think this shows with the toolbar, does it? No. And so let's make the top view. All right, well, first of all, naturally, this should probably be a linear layout, which I believe defaults to vertical. What is it doing about now? Yes, I know you cannot do that. Don't give me any margin top. Content. Let's set the image view to be match parent and give it a height of 100 dp. And you need to be vertical, so you are being horizontal right now, and that is no good. Android. Layout direction, maybe? Nope. Android. Layout. Huh. What are you? There you are, layout direction. All right, let's just Google it, because I know that'll take 2 seconds. Linear layout, vertical. Control F, vertical on this should do it right. Orientation is the word. Hey, layout direction looked close. All right, vertical, there we go. Then the image view is first. Okay, so it's a big star. That's fine. All right, so now we've got big star, and we've got another thing here. And should these be a recycle view? No, we can just do this individually. That's totally fine. So we'll do this as a, we could do it as a constraint layout. Let's see, so text view. Let's just start with a list of names. Yeah, we'll just keep it at text views. So let's see. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up an app real quick. So if I go into some app, and then look in the thing. So I'm looking at the Pocket Casts app. I don't know if anybody can see that, but it's got icons. So let's leave space for an icon and read some words. This seems to be a good way to do it. So that's going to be another linear layout. Oh, now it's all right, linear layout, which needs to be a tag. Linear layout. Oop, go away, documentation. We don't need you. Layout width of match parent, and it'll be. Now we're getting to the point where this is easier to do back in text. Yeah. Switching all over the place. So, but it's nice. We got this all set up. It's super easy to do. Let me just Control Z this back. And actually, what we can even do here is copy this, then Control Z back, and then we can paste it back in and comment it out so that if we can freely switch between the two. See ya. Thanks for coming, All right, so we are back into here because we didn't like that. I like using loops. Loops are fun. Let's use loops. So up here, let's just do a view. And remember, we wanted to make this a linear layout, actually. So there's a linear layout. We're going to make this a view. And it's going to have a background color of, let's go with red or green, because green's good, it means up. And then .l params, and it's going to be a width of bth equals match parent, and a height of 100 dp, which is the IP of 100. And then below this is where we get to have the phone. So we need to decide what tabs we're going to have on the app. So over, we've got trade history, 1, I guess orders, and we just need to pick something to get going. So we've got trade history, order book, price chart, and depth chart. Or really those could be the same. So charts maybe? Yeah, we'll just call it charts for now. So trade history, order book, and charts. And let's do, so we're going to make a new val items equals array of charts, trade history, order book, and charts. Okay, cool. Then let's do, got the view. So then we want to do items for each, and for each item, we want to make a text view that says that item's text, which in here is it. So, or for each loop like this, we could also name it. So we can give it a name, And then instead of it, we would have to use name. But if you don't name it, it will just be it. So we're going to be adding text views and a loop to our linear layout. And let's give them some padding. Let's say outparams. We'll give it a width of match parent, because we're not, well, you know, we can add the icons, but let's not add the icons yet. We'll just leave it the stuff. Width and height equals, we'll give it a height of 50 dp. Let's start with that and see where it goes. All right, yeah, 50. Then in the text view, we need to add some padding. So let's add padding. And you know what, we'll just set padding to 16 dp and see what happens. So dp 16, and then run this. Okay. You are complaining about something we're not really doing right now. So don't complain about this file. We are not using it at the moment. All right, good, successful. All right, let's see what we got. Over here, big green section, no text views. What's going on? NavDoor, layout, view, with the match parent, have 100. Do I need to set the direction? Is it in the layout? Orientation equals vertical. See if that makes a difference. I think it will. I hope so. We got a warning. But it built, oh, that's a lot of red. Look at that. All right. Hey, there we go. Got green, and then got our text, and they're all padded a little bit. And they got space in between them, and then can we even center that? So let's say that be gravity equals gravity. That's center. See if that changes. Oh, and in here we can change the text view. Do this and change text color equal to color.white. Okay, no errors, right? I don't know why you're saying, oh, is there an extra little guy down here? Sure was. All right, so drag this over, and there we go. We got trade history, order book, and charts. And gravity center doesn't look like it did anything there. No, it definitely did not. Also, the text size should be a little bigger. So, text size. And I'm going to set this to, and these in Anchor you set as floats, so let's go to 22F. And add a little more padding. Let's go 32. And alrighty, there's that. Pull this over. Oh, I have made the most silly of errors. I mentioned that earlier even specifically. Alright, so see here, I'm setting padding and the layout param section. That is a no-no because padding is inherent to the view. So that if we want to set the padding for the text view, it goes in the text view. So by setting the padding out here in the lparam section, it's not getting set on the text view, it's getting set on the entire linear layout. So there's 32 VPs of padding around everything there. So maybe 32 is actually a lot. Let's back this off to 16. And then there also won't be any padding on the initial view. It should take up the whole size of that section, which is what we're looking for. So, yeah, there we go. And the padding makes it so these aren't big enough. All right, so let's make these maybe 75 tall. Run that again. And then over here, check it out. We've got 3 sections that don't do anything. All right, back to the docs. And then here, now, we need I think the activity needs to be a drawer listener. Okay, toggle. Okay. Drawer item click listener. Okay, so here we're creating a drawer item click listener. Okay. All right, let's scroll up a little bit here. Initialize, no, we did that. Okay, so we've got to be on this step. So rather than implementing the drawer listener, action bar, okay. Override those callbacks. So this is still telling us for open and close events. What I really want here is open and closing with the app. No, not with the app icon. I want to have clicks on my button do something and close the drawer. Okay, so I'm just going to try to go for it here. Let's say text view on click, toast. Really? That should work. Not have toast. So toast, lowercase t, I think, or I thought was an extension function. Oh yeah, okay, there we go, toast. It. Nope. Okay, so if we want to use it, let's call this the, let's do name this parameter. Then we don't have confusing stuff going on with it, and we can toast the name. Let's run it. And when we click on each of the items in the NavDoor, that should do it. Yeah. This is going to work. So, order book, charts, trade history. But what we really want is for those clicks to do something and main activity. So, and main activity. So we could have them all be different activities. All right. So one thing we can do, so what we need to do now is when we click it, we need the drawer to close. So let's see, we've got, I think we need to give us an ability to close the drawer. So for this drawer layout here, we're going to need to create a variable. So val drawer, and this is a drawer layout. And right now it's null, which means we're going to do that and also make it a var. So we're going to be changing it as we go. So then drawer equals drawer layout, got it, and then just need some space to type code, drawer dot close drawers. Yep, so the close drawers. So then, you know, what we could do is, so just for now, since we're doing one step at a time, let's call this, we'll pass in that context, and we'll also pass in this lambda expression that just calls drawer dot close drawers. Close drawers. And then we'll alt enter to add that parameter. Do it. Cool. And then drawer, which we do need to say is not null. And we can say that because we're setting it right there. Right? Or will this not be set yet? Ooh, I guess we'll find out. So since this is like inside the drawer's initialization box, it may actually still be null here. But we will find out. Either way, if we have this function here, we'll call this action. Oops, just call it action. Then on click, what we're going to do is action. So there we go. And then assuming drawer is not null, that will close the drawer. All right, let's find out if drawer is null there. If it is not null, and that totally works. So cool. There we go. We've got that. We clicked it. Yeah. So far, we haven't done much that they said to do on the page that was supposed to be helpful, but that worked, and that was awesome. All right. So now that we've got our drawer set up, and we've got the ability to push code into the drawer and have it do things, we need to have some more sections of code here. So let's go with charts or order book. Let's take a sec, look at the code here. And I think maybe order books next. Let's save chart for last. That seems like the kind of the hardest one to do, and I feel bad doing them. I don't really feel bad, but it's, there's a lot of figuring out how to do this. It just takes a while. It's just hard. So I say order book. Now, the next question that we need to answer for this project then is what method are we going to use to change out the view here? So is this a new view? Is it a new activity? Are we doing fragments? What's going on? I think, well, let's go into the, so architecture components. So I want to see if architecture components are architecture. All right. Components. And good. Okay. And I want to see how fragments play a role. Because I vaguely recall at Google I/O there was some talk about fragments working well. Fragments. So let's see what kind of mentions we've got for fragments in here. Well, the fact that they didn't mention views here might mean that they're really looking for fragments. Activity or fragment. Yep. UI will consist of a fragment and its corresponding layout file. Okay. The UI data model needs to hold 2 elements. All right, fragment. Well, maybe actually before we get to that, we should refactor our existing trade history view to use this to, I guess, use a view model, because I'm not entirely sure what the importance of a view model is. Well, I know what a view model is, but not in the context of architecture components, because what we have works just fine. But let's look through this. Displays the view model. Okay, so we were gonna get back to doing a fragment. Actually, wait, do we have a view model? We have all these beautiful database setups and an activity with an adapter. And there's this web socket that grabs the data. And now we've got a NavDoor and a message parser to parse all the messages. So no, I think the answer is a definitive no on view model. So let's look back at view model here and try to bring that in. So well, that's interesting. They're using Dagger. That's actually super interesting. I didn't know. Oh wow, Dagger's mentioned 5 times. Provided by Dagger too. All right, let's read into this a little bit. So the user repository class needs an instance of web service to do its work. Okay. Right, and every class that needs a web service would need to know how to construct it with its dependencies. So that is complicated, yes. Wait, really? Dagger's by Google? Is that always the case? Okay, there we go. Wow, that's cool. I didn't know. We'll have to get on Dagger then. I did not know Dagger was now maintained by Google. That's a sound sort of affirmation of this library. Look at that. Okay. All right, so let's look into that. That looks like fun. All right, so back up here. Yeah, apps are complicated. That's the main issue. And we declare our app components in the manifest true. Okay, yep. Okay, so I think that's the big takeaway that they have in this first section, is because app components are ephemeral in their life cycle, are not under your control. Life cycles, maybe? Because app components are ephemeral and their life cycles are not under your control, you should not store any app data or state in your app components. So again, that's app components here, that's services, broadcast receivers, activities, and content providers. There are 4 types of app components. And app components are things you have to define in your manifest also. And those things should not depend on each other. True. So, if you can't use app components to store app data and state, how should apps be structured? Yep, separation of concerns. We definitely write all of our code in activities and fragments. That's super how that happens. All right, the second important principle is that you should drive your UI from a model, preferably a persistent model. So we're currently doing that. We have our model data as just coming in from the WebSocket, and we are updating the UI as it as it comes in. Continue work. Yep. Okay, so recommended app architecture. So just want to make sure we're not missing anything here. In this case, we're building a UI that shows you the profile. Okay. There we go. A view model provides the data for a specific UI component, such as a fragment or activity. It handles the communication with the business part of data handling, such as calling other components to load the data or forwarding user modifications. The view model does not know about the view and is not affected by configuration changes, right, such as recreating an activity due to rotation. So the view model would be providing the data. So for our trade history section, let's pull that up. For the trade history section, we have a view model that gives us the size of the trade, which is this number here and this bar, the price of the trade, and the time of the trade. And if we look in the code, we've got that. Right here. So we've got this data class called trade, which stores all that information for us. But it looks like with the view model class, we can do, I guess, more. Let's see. So the layout file is left out for simplicity. Okay. But it's called user profile.xml. Okay, so they're including the view into the container. It's get arguments like a string UID. What? Viewmodel equals viewmodels provider. Viewmodel providers.of has in presumably some kind of lifecycle activity or fragment. Then getting the class and then calling init on it. But then how do they use it? Right, same way we're using it currently. So I guess let's poke around and just make a view model class. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go new Kotlin filer class, trade history view model, which is a class. Add it to Git, sure, and it extends view model. Which means what? Need a constructor? Okay. All right. Then where do we define that live data from? adapter. No, you don't get the live data, you get the live data. Load match order sync. Control V, which is from our DAO, which stands for Database Access Object, or in the cryptocurrency world, Distributed Autonomous Organization. And this doesn't connecting view model and the repository. Oh, okay, so it does. Gotcha. So it's pulling this data from our match orders DAO, which is fine. How do we get you involved? Trade. Are you just a middleman between? Yeah, I think you are. You're just a middleman. You're just a middleman. Okay, so. And the other thing I wanted to call out was, where is our view model? So there it is. Model update user. That's the guy. This thing. Okay, let's try that. Calling some of that code in our activity, which is a lifecycle activity, so that's good. And then, so what was that code? View model providers. Providers dot of. Oh, it wants a fragment. So this at an activity is a NavDoor, right? Seems to go. Dot get. No, not dot get. Okay, let's try that again. Dot get. Okay. And then trade history view model class.java. Okay. And since that worked, let's not put it there because that's not where we want that to go. Let's just put it at the top of the enclave here so we can figure something out. Get rid of that because we're not using it. Okay, so then we can do val view model equals this, and then we can do view model dot init. Okay, now was init a function on it? Yes, it was. So why would you? That's a very redundant method there. So let's come down here and hopefully they've got more in it. Okay. So let's add a live data element that matches our other one. And here, so we want to give that. Whoa, I made myself talk, that's weird. Okay, so Arto's asked 480p. That's a good question. Let's see what's going on there. Settings. Stream. No, that doesn't come here. That is interesting. So if we go in here, and looks like I can change this to be on, what is that video? It might actually be outputting at the wrong resolution, or a resolution different than what I'm actually doing here. And it doesn't look like I can fix that without turning off the stream, unfortunately. And I'm about 13 minutes away from being done, so we're just gonna have to, I guess, sit this one out. So if I turn it off, it'll go into 2 videos, and that's kind of annoying for everybody who has to watch it on the playlist side. So yeah, sorry that that's not looking good. I wish somebody would have let me know a little earlier. But okay, so all right. Back in here, let's come to trade history model view, and let's give it whatever that type was, that, and let's call this, did we call it something in here? Let's call it orders. Yeah. Val, oh no, trades. Trades equals, or no, is this type. Trades is this type. Import, import. Okay, so then we've got that type set up, and roll that over. Right, yep. Then they're injecting a thing, and they're using a user repo. Okay, so they're using, and then a init call, which we can't call it init, so let's call it something, or actually we can call it init, but we need to pass in that thing as a parameter, which is a little frustrating. So not sure how we'll be able to do that. So this is from user repository, which user repository is doing what? That gets the data. Okay, so here, that's interesting. So even though the repository module looks unnecessary, it serves an important purpose. It abstracts the data sources away from the rest of the app, and our view model does not know that the data is fetched by the web service. Okay, though I feel like we've already got that step done with having this match orders now. So, which has to be implemented, because that's, how do we get that? So db.match, oh, okay. Okay. App database. Yeah, which I guess sets all that up, right? Yeah. And then view model here, we can do trades, which gives us that. But then, and that we need the database to get the data. So I think to make this project match with the goals of architecture components, the DB line does not go in the activity, nor the WebSocket, though we were pretty clear that was going to get refactored away. So we're going to pull those into the view model somehow through some middling classes. we've got the view model and the repository, but we don't have a repository. We just have data and database, which should be basically a repository. And they're using Dagger 2, which I'm not familiar with, so I'm not going to try and dig into that right now. What does the view model class look like anyway? The view model Android. I'm looking for the reference page here, so not this. What is this? We have more information than the other page did. Ooh, there's a graph. That's cool. All right, we're in good shape here. Okay, so view model makes it so that the data survives configuration changes such as screen rotations. Though currently our project's data is stored in the SQLite database and reloaded on a screen rotation, so that is working, I think. Let's see, we've got this, rotate, yeah. See, our data is still there, because we're just using database and reloading it every time. So, let's see. Right, any data you hold in those are lost. So when you rotate, you've got activities and they're going to die and get restarted. Okay, so view model is automatically retained. So the UI, or the view model, is a helper class for the UI controller, which would mean activity, view, fragment, or I think really activity or fragment in this case, which is responsible for preparing the data for the UI. So the view model is automatically retained during configuration changes so that the data it holds is immediately available to the next activity or fragment instance. In the example we mentioned above, it should be the view model's responsibility to acquire and keep the list of users, not the activity or the fragment. And then the activity can access it. Okay, so this is sort of what we needed. What we were on Guide to Architecture Components, and we needed the view model page. All right, so we've got the view model, that, and then we've got trades, okay, which then we need like get trades, which you can't really do. And yes, you can do it in Kotlin. It's just like this, equals get, no, get, yeah, there it is. So get and set, which set should be like, no, you can't set this, it's a val. True. So let's make this a val. And then get should return a list of trades, which means we need a database. It feels weird that we need to get a database in here. Did I get a database? New live data, and then load users, do async operation to fetch users. Yeah, I guess they do. So but then I can't make a DB here, can I? Because this needs to be a context, which we don't have. And we can't possibly need context here. So let's see, connecting view model to DAO. Android. Oh, don't open that Gradle tab. Let's try this one. or not. Android architecture components, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody to tell us how to connect from lifecycle owner, components like that, lifecycle owners. We got a UI. Right, and your view model definitely doesn't take any context, because that would not make sense, because if it lives across a UI change, that's a different context. And see here from that picture we saw on the last page, view model scope is the whole thing, which, to be clear, this means the view model scope is basically your app scope. So when you create a new app in Android, you can create an app class that extends application, which has a life cycle of your application, which looks like what the view model scope is. So I'm not sure why that's such a thing when the application exists as a class, but who knows? Okay, so view model providers to get the instance, and they refer to view model storage version. Yep. View model providers library also contains the Android view model class that takes an application. Oh, that's interesting. There's that data. Nice. And the DAO. Okay, now click the DAO. Bunch of RX stuff to make that work. Replace view model based on an Android view model. That's not the class, is it? No, it's just view model. Let's see. View model DAO Android. Realm. Did you actually write a thing? Okay, cool. Realm is good. I trust that they would write something good about this. So let's see, they've got that set up. But it's kind of showing us realm specific stuff here. Yeah, all right. Well, I might have to look at this offline a little bit to figure out how we should go forward, because it's, I want to go forward and create more of the screens we need, but also, I want to do it the way that architecture components says we should do it, because I think that's, that's more challenging, that's more what people want to see, and that's what I need to be showing people. So that's what we'll do next week, is spend some time refactoring this guy, trade history view model, to, I guess, be a thing. But let's do a little cleanup in our project. So we can leave, let's delete this NavDoor, we don't want it. Let's delete you. Bye-bye. Delete that. Okay. And then we use it here, so let's delete those comments. Okay. And then I guess another thing we can do is we can make this just one line to add it, and then these lines to add the LPRAMs. You can do that with Encode. We can turn this into a one-liner, but it's okay as is. All right, back over here. Let's go ahead and just comment this out. Right, and then what is this red thing telling me? What's going on? Activity, expecting an element. Oh. Okay, so let's delete that too. And then to draw my attention to this, because we'll need to uncomment that. We can write to do, uncomment. And then to-dos, they also show up down here in to-do. So, I should do that. So there's a cool tip. And let's see, let's run this. We should leave it in a state that runs. All right, there's that, and that. Cool. And then so next week we will tackle using the view model and really just, I guess I'll spend some time offline so it's a lot less boring for you guys, but just to see what's going on with view model, how to tie that together to our database access object, and then bring that into the activity, which we might need to refactor into using a fragment for our views so that we can swap fragments for the other views. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And there's a lot more to do, but we will get to that next week. See you.